Hi guys, today we've got a couple little projects to get done. You can see I'm out in the backyard. I've got my jacket on, the wind is blowing. There's a little chill in the air. It's about 50 degrees, but the sun is out, there's not a cloud in the sky, and it's perfect weather for planting bulbs. And that's gonna be our first project. We're gonna be planting tulip bulbs. Now, if you guys remember last year, I planted a whole bunch of bulbs on the south side by the chain link fence where the vegetable garden and the retaining wall are. And I didn't get that big boom of a show that I was hoping to get because the squirrels kicked up a bunch of the bulbs, and part of that area was a little too shaded as you got further back towards the backyard. So it wasn't the ideal spot for an even row of spectacular spring color, shall we say. So this year I decided I'm going to do them in containers, and we're going to be planting up the 4 big blue containers with tulip bulbs. And then we have a rescue project that just kind of fell upon me this morning. So let's get to work on our tulips, our bulbs first, and then we'll move on to our little rescue project. Here's the bulbs that we're going to be planting today. Aren't they just so pretty? I mean, you look at these colors and instantly you think spring. So I picked these up from Home Depot a couple weeks ago, and they've just been hanging out in the basement. But now that it's cooler outside, I can get them potted up in our containers, our big blue containers. And I've got some potting mix, some compost, which I'm going to mix together, and our Biotone starter fertilizer. I don't have any bulb tone, but between all 3 of these, it'll be more than enough nutrition to keep these bulbs fed throughout the winter. So I've got 45 bulbs of these beautiful Darwin hybrid mix and 30 of the Royal Crowns blend. So I thought if I just divide them between the 4 pots, I can put these all around the perimeter and then just put like 7 bulbs in each container right in the center. Now these are a mid bloomer. These are a mid-spring bloomer. These are a late spring bloomer. So we'll have these flush out first, and then we'll get a second showing coming up right in the center. And these are, I think, 18 inches. These get 18 inches tall, and these get upwards of like 20. So combined, they'll just be this beautiful, beautiful, like practical rainbow of color. So that's my plan for these. So there's a few things you want to consider when you're planting bulbs in containers. First and foremost is your area. What type of winter do you have? Do you get a lot of snow, a lot of moisture, a lot of fluctuating temperatures where you end up with like that freeze thaw where you get a lot of moisture in your containers and then the temperature drops and it freezes and then the soil expands and your containers crack? If so, then you want to probably pick a container that's more, definitely not terracotta, but more like ceramic or plastic if you can. Secondly, you want to know the moisture level too, because you don't want to let these bulbs dry out. So if you're in an area where you get a lot of cold, but you don't get a lot of rain or snow, just know that you're going to have to consistently water them. And probably like during the cold winter months, I would say maybe like once every couple weeks or so, but you just want to keep an eye on the soil, the moisture level in the soil, and just water accordingly, because you don't want to keep the soil super wet because then you could possibly rot the bulbs, but you also don't want to let the soil completely dry out because then the bulbs will dry up and we won't end up with anything. So those 2 are basically I would think the main things to kind of keep your eye out on. Also, you want to place your containers in an area where they're protected, but they do get sunlight. And then in the springtime, when the weather starts to warm up, you can move them to their more permanent spot where hopefully they get full sun and you end up with a beautiful show, like I'm hoping we do. So I'm just going to jump right into this and get all of our containers potted. I'm going to do one with you guys and show you how I'm going to arrange them, and then I will just get the other 3 done, and then we'll move on to our little rescue project. So this is what a tulip bulb looks like. You've got the growth point up here. You've got the roots down here. So when we plant these, we're going to plant them with the little tip pointing up, and we're just going to follow the instructions on the bag, which says to plant them 6 inches deep. So we'll get them 6 inches deep, and then we'll cover them with a layer of soil and compost, and then we'll water them in. So these containers have all been cleaned out. We had plain the blue salvia in them all summer long. They were beautiful. The pollinators loved them. But the other day we had 45-mile-an-hour winds and they all just snapped. So we cleaned them all out and we've got them all prepped and ready to go. So I'm going to start by adding some starter fertilizer to the soil and just a couple handfuls. If you have bulb tone, use bulb tone. I'm out of bulb tone, so I'm just using biotone. I'm just going to scratch it all in, level it all up, and now we're just going to arrange our bulbs. So this is the variety that I'm going to plant all around the exterior, and you can see from the top of the container down to where the soil line is, it's about 7 inches. So I'm going to take our bulb root side down and just nudge it right into the soil, right along the edge, and just work my way all the way around. I'm going to put 11 in each container. And then with our other variety, I'm just going to fill the center with them. So I'm going to put 11 of these in here. And we'll just get them all nice and snug. And when you're planting in containers, you can actually put these a lot closer than you would in the ground. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And now we can put our other variety right in the center. So I'm going to start with 1 in the center, and then I'll just put 6 all the way around. And that's what it'll look like. Now we'll just cover it with some compost. And top it all up with soil. And in the end, this is what it's going to look like. So we will have to wait until spring to see them do their thing. All right, guys, I'm going to get the other 3 planted up. The bulbs are planted. Let me show you what they don't look like. So the bulbs are 6 inches deep. I put in some Biotone starter fertilizer, mixed that in, put our bulbs in, topped it with a thick layer of compost, and then covered it with a layer of potting mix. And I left about a 1.5 inch lip, so when we water it, it'll settle in and it won't spill over. And all the other containers look exactly the same right now. Not too much to look at. They just look completely topped up with nice fresh soil. And I am going to come in with a little bit of netting and cover the tops and just put some rocks right around here because I don't want the squirrels jumping in and digging all these bulbs up. Now we can move on to our second and final project. We're going to be trying to rescue and save a plant. So I was at my local nursery this morning and a friend of mine works there, said that a customer had purchased a shrub, brought it home, planted it. I don't know, she didn't like it or it kind of just stressed out or shocked, but they brought it back. It was sitting in its container barely, and they asked me if I wanted to take it and try and save it. So I was like, of course, I'm always up for a good rescuing a plant challenge. So let me show you the condition that this was literally given to me in. This is the exact condition I received the plant. The root ball is sitting on top of what I assume is the client's soil from their garden. This was just sitting on top of it. There's broken branches throughout. It does have a little bit of foliage on it, but look at that. Can you guys guess what this is? No? It is a little unrecognizable in its current state. Poor thing. But this is actually a Pearl Glam Beauty Berry. And if you've never seen one before, I'll pop up a couple pictures. It is gorgeous. These get about 4 to 5 feet tall, 3 to 4 feet wide. They're hardy in zones 5 through 8. They like well-draining soil, and they are a multi-season plant. In the spring, they leaf out with a beautiful purple foliage, followed by white blooms late summer, which turn into these berries in the fall. Aren't they gorgeous? They're like a violet fuchsia berry. And then of course the colors change in fall. Oh, so pretty. Now it is deciduous, so it will drop its leaves in the winter, but we'll have the beautiful structure of all the branches. It is deer resistant and it likes full sun. So we are going to clean out all of this soil in here and put in some fresh soil. I'm going to dump all of this because I have no idea what this is, what's in it. So we're just going to completely get rid of everything and start from scratch. And we've got the Holy Trinity right here: Biotone Starter Fertilizer, Land and Seed Compost, and Organic Potting Mix. All right, guys, here we go. So right now I'm just trying to remove as much of the soil as I can from the roots. And I'm just going to set this aside. This we're going to dump. And now we're just going to fill it up with fresh soil, Biotone Starter Fertilizer, compost, and just get it all nice and settled in its new home. I'm actually going to downsize it in a pot because this is way too big for this root ball. I think it'll be a lot happier in this container for right now, just to get us through the winter. Changed my mind again. That pot was a little too narrow for this root system. All right, guys, we got it all potted up and watered in. It is sitting in a new home of fully charged organic soil, compost, and starter fertilizer. And it is going to sit on the patio for a little while and just rest and recuperate. And then as it gets a little cooler, I will tuck it in by the side of the house or something to give it a little winter protection. But I think it's going to be pretty happy in its new home, and we will just have to wait and see what this does next spring. I did not go in and cut or trim any of the branches. I figured the entire plant has just been completely stressed out. So I'm just going to let it just sit, take a moment, and just relax. And that's it for this video, guys. Super happy to have the bulbs planted, really excited to see what the Beauty Berry is going to do next spring, and just happy to have a few more little projects checked off the checklist because I want to start focusing on the area behind the swale and get that all ready for the winter and maybe a little planting. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. Have a great day. Bye.